What is up? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Protect Our Queens podcast presented by Basketball Society. I am Dwayne Marcus, and with me, as always, is fellow lover of women's basketball, founder of Basketball Society, Martin Sories, the basketball Jedi himself. My guy, how we feeling?
It's a great night, Marcus. And you know why it's a great night, because we got Ziggy, we got Zig, Zagaza. My guy Zig is in the building tonight. Women's Hoops Masterclass, really one of the best WNBA college prospect projection platforms that you'll find on social media. Our guy Ziggy, we had him on last year, kind of around this time, talking about the draft and stuff. We're going to talk about his latest mock draft. But yeah, man, you know, we're live. It's Protect Our Queens. If you're here, send the link to a friend. Let them know that we are live here on Protect Our Queens on a Wednesday night. Women's basketball is booming. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Let's do it. Before we jump into the show for Ziggy on, you sent me something on Instagram earlier today from Overtime. And no, it is not our Overtime post. It is not that. It is something else. Martin sent me this earlier. It says, which starting five would win the natty? On the top, we have Olivia Miles, from left to right. Olivia Miles, AZ Fudd, Michaela Blakes, Addie Booker, and Audi Crooks. On the bottom, we have Hannah Hidalgo, Flau'jae Johnson, Liv McGill, Joyce Edwards, and Sarah Strong. I saw this.
You answered right away.
I said
right away.
Bottom,
one word.
And I kept it pushing. I didn't give an explanation. Yeah. I didn't give any reasoning. It was just bottom.
No analysis, no opinion.
No analysis.
No, one word.
I looked at it one time and I was like, bottom. And I feel like that's the answer. I don't think
I tend to agree with you. I mean, I feel like it you don't think it would at least warrant some conversation. I mean, I think the real killer is, I think the bottom has like so much athleticism advantage. Hannah, Flau'jae, Liv McGill is the wild card in there. You throw Liv McGill in there, that kind of messed me up. But I mean, bro, you're talking about Liv, AZ, Michaela on top with Maddie Book. I'm like, I don't know, man. That's still a conversation.
This is why I said bottom, no problem. I think all of this boils down to the front court. I think this boils down to Joyce and Sarah versus Maddie and Audi Crooks.
I mean,
I think Maddie's better than Joyce. And as far as, you know, offensively, right?
Sure.
Joyce is, you know, not nearly as gifted offensively as Maddie. Like, there's not a lot to Joyce's game. She's still kind of rounding those things out. But Sarah Strong and Audi Crooks.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Yeah, I know. But I mean, bro, and we both love both players, so there's not. Audi would have a nightmare trying to keep up with Sarah Strong. I know.
Trying to keep up with Sarah Strong, and
she got to guard Audi too, right? She got to guard Audi too.
I mean, she's got to guard Audi, but I mean, we've done a film breakdown of Sarah Strong on the show with you and Dan did the film breakdown. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. We've talked a lot about Sarah offensively. We've talked a lot about her defensively. I just think, like, you can't actually. Are you going to switch Maddie onto Sarah instead of Audi Crooks?
Well, no,
I don't think that's going to be any better. You know what I mean? And I don't think necessarily, like, so I look at it like this, right? I think Hannah and Liv.
If Liv and Audi are running the pick and roll, bro, how are you guarding that?
I don't think that's as difficult as Hannah and Sarah Strong on the pick
running
and
the
roll.
pick and popping on them, right? Yeah.
For me, I think it really just boils down to Sarah Strong and Audi Crooks. Just like from a specific, like just that matchup by itself is kind of the deciding factor. Like, honestly, you sent it to me and I was just looking for Sarah Strong. I was like, wherever Sarah Strong's at, that's where I'm going.
I feel you.
I mean, she's far and away the best player in the country. Maybe not far and away, but that's just kind of like how I feel about her. You and I were talking a little bit about like this, like the whole Maya Moore comparison thing that have been heating up lately, which I do want to get your thoughts on. But the other thing I'll say about this too is I just think, like, you have Olivia Miles and AZ Fudd at the up top. You have Hannah and Flau'jae on the bottom. To me, I think those two backcourts kind of cancel each other out.
Kind of a wash, right? Yeah, okay.
It's kind of a wash. You know what I mean? Like, I think Hannah and Liv, like, we saw them together at Notre Dame. Like, they are.
Yeah.
are kind of one and the same, bro. Like
Hannah
that's
would
what
be
they do.
really I'm thinking
And there's
Hannah
gonna
would
be
be going
motivation
at
there
Liv. She
between
would
the
be
two of them because
Hannah
of
would be looking to make a statement here and
for
trying to
sure.
yeah,
And
yeah, okay.
look, AZ is a better shooter, and maybe even you could say a better scorer than Flaugier, but Flaugier is a pretty good defender as well. I don't think Flaugier would have a hard time staying in front
I
of.
think that matchup is pretty.
Yeah, I think
It
that's
could
a
be
really
pretty
a pretty
even.
even
It's a good
matchup.
matchup.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know much about Liv McGill. I know a lot about Michaela Blakes. That's interesting. I would like to see that. I would like
Listen,
to
that
see how that
matchup is
unfolds.
fire right there.
I
That
would like
matchup,
to see
Liv
that. I
McGill,
know
yeah.
very little, but I think that would be
Athletically,
interesting.
that is a fire matchup right there.
Yeah, so I mean, I think just when you go like head to head, like down the line, I just think it
No,
all just kind of boils down to the Audie Crook Sarah Strong matchup. That's why I looked at it. I was like, bottom done. Yeah, I don't.
You know what would be interesting now that I think about it? If if you swapped Maddie and Joyce, it might make those front courts make more sense because I feel like Maddie's Maddie with Sarah and Joyce with Audie, it's like it would, I think, a little more complimentary and maybe it's better this way because Maddie is like your stretch four with Audie, who's going to be, controlling the paint, and Joyce and Sarah, that combination as a front court is pretty versatile already too. But I was just thinking like, man, if you swap them, maybe that would make more sense. But this is loaded, man. This was just loaded. I did want to say something quickly about Sarah Strong before we get to our guy Ziggy, Women's Hoops Masterclass, and talk about his WNBA mock draft and get some of his thoughts on Awa Fam and some other things. Just quickly, I was just thinking about this the other day, Marcus, how, and this might just be the basketball purist, the basketball brat of a purist in me, but I just, and I want all the uniquely talented women's basketball players that exist to get all the love and recognition that they deserve, which is part of why Protect Our Queens even exists. So I'm a bit biased here, but Sarah Strong is so good of a basketball player, Marcus and audience. I just feel like, I guess if we had more of a wholesome basketball purist society as a general fandom in the masses, Sarah Strong would be getting the same kind of excitement and enthusiasm as we saw Caitlin Clark getting and Angel Reese getting. And of course, there are a lot more layers and dynamic to that. I'm fully aware. I'm just talking purely basketball talent. You watch Sarah Strong play, and like I was telling you, yeah, she's not flashy, right? But like if you watch her, you'll probably see her do something like throw it over her head and do something like amazing, like remarkable, just from a basketball standpoint. So she may not be super flashy or shooting from the logo or doing something that you feel like you've never seen before. But man, just watch the girl play and you should be marveling over her. And I feel like as a basketball society, our fandom nationwide should be a lot more excited about Sarah Strong and even others like Olivia Miles. We just did a breakdown on Liv. It's here on the channel. Check it out right after you watch this episode. Myself and our guy, Dan Thompson, you know how I feel about Olivia. Like it's same kind of thing. There should be more of that genuine excitement around these players because they're just that good, man.
For sure. Absolutely. Well, the lovely thing about Protect Our Queens in general, but especially tonight, is we are always trying to surround ourselves by people who are genuinely excited, not just by women's basketball, but by the players that are going to shape the future of women's basketball. So, as Martin alluded to, and as we talk about all day on our socials, we have Ziggy, the man behind Women's Hoops Masterclass, joining us again tonight to break down his second WNBA mock draft and talk about some of these interesting questions and players and things. So, I'm excited. Martin's excited. I know Ziggy's excited.
I'm sorry. One more thing before we go to Ziggy. I'm sorry. I forgot the Maya Moore thing. I just had to get off my chest quickly because there's someone in the comments trying to go back and forth with me on this. And they left a comment on our Sarah Strong video from a couple months ago. I know there's a lot of Sarah Strong, Maya Moore parallel comparison going on. There's a graphic out there showing how Sarah's stats up to this point are like identical to Maya Moore's. I think aesthetically there is a similarity and I get it. And I think I've said this before on here. I think Sarah Strong is fine to just let her be Sarah Strong and not, I see some of Maya Moore in her. I think there's some similarities aesthetically. I think they're both smooth, the way they shoot the ball, I think there are some similarities. I see Sarah more as a post player, inside out. Like I don't think we saw Maya Moore being set up for high-low post seals like Sarah Strong is, right? Like I'm all in on how great Sarah Strong is. And I don't know if that's just coming from the UConn people and they love to like juxtapose their former greats and like say I don't know if it's just a UConn thing, but I feel like I see a good amount of basketball people too trying to make the comparison. Like she's the new Maya Moore. I just think Maya Moore is a little bit more of a true guard than a Sarah Strong. Sarah Strong's a forward with guard skills. And I think that's different. So I'm sorry. I had to get that off my chest because there's been someone in the comments going back and forth with me saying Sarah Strong's Maya Moore 2.0. And I'm like, I see what you mean. I see it, but I don't see it. I'm not all in on that comparison.
Sure. We appreciate biomicrobiology. That sounds kind of scary. For the comment, said Sarah Strong is her own thing for sure. And I'm saying that as a lifelong UConn fan. We appreciate the fans who are able to live in a world of reality and not a world of delusion. Let's have some fun.
Protect our queens.
Do you practice this? Was this spur of the moment?
They put the ether beat on this.
I started paying attention to women's basketball in a way that I never had before.
In and out, crossover, she has all that in her bag.
I just think that Paige is more well-rounded on both sides of the ball.
It's all about her feel for the game, bro.
All of these girls seem like a WA guy that got a turnaround fade in the paint.
We don't need 7 games. We didn't need 6 games. We didn't need 5 games. 4.
Zagaza. Zagaza. The man.
Hey.
The man.
The legend, my guy. How we feeling?
Man, I'm doing great. It's always a good moment when we can talk, WNBA prospect, college, just basketball in general.
Yeah, Ziggy, man. Ziggy put us on last year around this time to Dom Malunga. She was the number 2 overall pick in the draft. Ziggy told us right here on this show what to expect, how to understand what her capabilities are, and he really put us on ever since then. I mean, even before then, Ziggy was my trusted source, what he does on social media and putting us on to the real nuances and skill sets and tendencies of players and how it translates to the next level. Ziggy, you just do an awesome job, brother, and it's good to have you back on Protect Our Queens, man.
I appreciate that. I'm just trying to do my due diligence. I love what you guys doing. You guys doing a great job, very consistent. I think that's very important too. You're not just putting out content,
Zig, hey, let me throw out this. The man is a pro. Like this is what I'm saying. Like this, so like he's a hooper, which of course I you gotta respect. I love that. But he's a pro. The man is a pro. So again, not to say everything he says is correct. He checks himself. He knows he's not, but he's got his opinions are coming from a pro's perspective. The man's a pro.
Right.
So I had to remind them, Marcus, of who we're talking about.
we gotta let them know who we're dealing with before we just start.
We're talking pro. Come on now.
I appreciate that.
Here's
I think that's no for what you was gonna say, Marcus.
No, go right ahead. My bad.
I was gonna say like even though I'm a professional basketball player, been playing pro for like almost 10 years now. I'm not immune to being wrong. I've been studying this a lot. I mean, I'm a student of the game as well. I understand that I'm not always going to be right, but I'm trying to be as accurate as possible in my assessment, right? So in being accurate in my assessment, I'm not going to please everybody all the time, but I'm fine with it. My job is just trying to make the game better and trying to educate people as in what makes a WNBA prospect, a good WNBA prospect.
That's love, Zig. Always keeping the real, and let our audience know where you're joining us from too, man. Where are you at?
I'm currently in Switzerland, Zurich, Switzerland, to be more specific. It is 1:30 in the morning where I'm at, so I'm 6 hours ahead of the United States, but it's worth it. Like I say, it's worth it, man. I love what you guys doing to Protect Our Queens. Trying to push the envelope to make this women's basketball thing go forward, and I wouldn't want to have it any other way, man. Sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to grind it out.
1:30 in the morning, man. That's love. That's what the love sounds like right there, man. Come on.
It's worth it, man. It's worth it.
Come on.
So I actually couldn't wait for this day. I couldn't wait for this day for the moment we put it on the calendar because I have been getting a lot of unnecessary, in my opinion, heat from a select group of people, all because I have an opinion that defers the masses. So Martin and I had an episode. We did an episode, as we always do, after the draft lottery, and we talked about what the Dallas Wings should do with the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft. Let's go back and take a look at just a piece of that conversation. If the Wings draft AZ Fudd, right, and Lauren Betts goes somewhere else, and Awa Fam goes somewhere else, and they both look great. They both look incredible. They are both doing all the things that we think they're going to do and more. They're impacting winning, and their teams are better off for it. I think that the Wings will look back at April 14th, 2026, and regret having drafted AZ Fudd if they don't draft Lauren Betts or Awa Fam. That is all I'm saying. And it's not because I don't think AZ Fudd is a good basketball player. It's because they need a big, bro. They need a big, bro. They need a big. So here's the thing, right? I will be the first to admit, sometimes I can't put all my words together cohesively in a way that makes sense. I don't understand why Martin is even still co-hosting this pod with me, because I don't understand half the time. But here's the thing, right? This is what I say to Martin all the time, Zig, and then I'll let you answer the question on the screen, which is Awa Fam the right fit for Dallas? This is the analogy I always give to Martin, right? I'm a football guy at heart. I love football. I've loved football all my life, right? And what I've always told people is the NFL draft comes around, right? You've got a team that needs a quarterback, like absolutely needs a quarterback. They have other things wrong with their roster. Maybe they need a true wide receiver. Maybe they need some offensive line help, but they really, really need a quarterback, right? And the best player available, like the number 1 projected player in the draft, is not a quarterback. Me, you go get you that quarterback. Whoever the best quarterback available is, you go get that guy, because there's no guarantee you're going to get another one, not in this draft or any other one. So all I've been saying is AZ Fudd is great. I won't sit here and deny the greatness of AZ Fudd, both individually or what she could do alongside Paige in Dallas. But they need a big. Like, they need a big. AZ's a unique prospect, but they absolutely need a big. And that has been my stance since the day the draft lottery was finished. So I will tell you, I told Martin, as soon as I saw your initial the new mock draft that you did, the one that we're going to be reacting to and kind of picking apart today, and actually I'll put it on the screen, where you have Awa Fam at the top of your board, I was like, we need to settle a date for Ziggy to come on the show, because this is a guy who has my back and has my vested interest at heart. Forget all them other people. He has my back. So Ziggy, talk to me. Why is Awa Fam the right fit for the Dallas Wings?
Well, before I answer that, I partially agree with what you said, the analogy you made about, the NFL draft, and if you need a quarterback, but the best player is not a quarterback, you still take the quarterback. I agree with you, but we all are, basketball purists and historians, and we all famously remember the Portland Trailblazers, or whoever had the number 1 pick in the '84 draft, needing a specific player, and they asked Bob Knight, hey, who should we take? And Bob Knight famously told them you need to pick Michael Jordan. And Portland told him, but we need a center. And what did Bob Knight said? Take Michael Jordan, play my center, right? Yep. So we both remember that. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that AZ is Michael Jordan. Right. I'm saying she's a pretty good player, right? Yeah. Now, Dallas already has that dominant perimeter player for the future, and that's Paige, right? I understand why people want to see AZ next to Paige. Obviously, I'm not going to go into details into the private life, but there's also the UConn relationship. They've played together. They know each other very well, right? And AZ is, she's probably, I said she's the best shooter in the whole draft, right? She can shoot it on the catch, shoot it off the bounce, coming off screens. And when she misses shots, you're more surprised than ever. You're like, hold on, she missed that jump shot? It's pretty crazy, right? Because her shot is so pure, her release is so smooth. So you can't go wrong with AZ Fudd. However, I said this, Dallas definitely needs a big. And to me, Awa makes sense. One, for the same reason that I was speaking about Malonga last year, youth. Awa is only 19 years old. Last summer, she carried Spain to the final of Eurobasket women, right? They were 1 quarter away from winning gold medal. They lost because of lack of experience. She's had big games, especially against France, which was a roster field with players with a lot of experience in the EuroLeague women and WNBA players. She gave them the work. And this year alone in the EuroLeague Women, she's had some really good games. She had a 17 points game against Fenerbahce, which is a Turkish powerhouse, and she had a head-to-head matchup with Monique Billings, who's one of the best post players in the WNBA. Incredible athlete, strong, great interior defender, and she was giving Monique Billings a hard time. Right, 17 points. I think she was 7-11 from the floor. Mo Billings had 20 points on of her own, but still, for a young player like that to do that. Awa has great physical strength. She has a nice frame. She's a great interior passer, and that's when it makes a big difference. When your post player can pass the basketball right out of the post at that age, it's pretty rare, right? Because when you're a young player, even though you've played professional, having that kind of playmaking acumen, knowing where your teammates are around you, right? Great spatial awareness when you catch the ball on the block. Before looking, okay, my shooter's already open in the corner because I know somebody's going to try to help on me in the post. And as soon as you catch the ball, touch pass, zip it to the corner or zip it to the wing who's going to cut to the basket. That makes the difference. Also in the high post or on the perimeter, being able to move very well. So you're not a liability. I can use you, as a hub in a ball reversal to screen, a ball reversal to dribble handoff and then screen and dive. She's a great screen and dive player. Great hands around the rim. I was watching her game tonight. They played against Venezia in the EuroLeague. She had 14 points. She's really good at screening, diving, screening again, and diving and catching the ball. She doesn't really get tired like that. She finishes high around the rim. You can give her the ball on the block, and she get you a bucket. She has really good footwork. And she's starting to shoot the basketball a little bit more from 17 and from 3. So all those things put together, to me, makes her the best available prospect. She's not Malonga in the sense that Dom is really, like I said, a wing who simply grew to be 6'6", and now is playing the post. But Awa, to me, her passing ability, her physical strength, and her defensive acumen, because she's excellent as a ball screen defender in the drop, but also when she's not involved in the pick and roll. Again, I was watching tonight. She's super active. She's aware of what's going on around her. She knows how to, be this tower of control in the paint, making sure that her teammates are all in the right place, always talking, always communicating, always looking and looking back to see what's going on, making sure that everybody who has their back turns understand what's going on the floor. I think she has a really high ceiling. It can be one of the best defensive anchor in the WNBA. I'll call her Baby Neka. A lot of people call her, compared to Tanae, I call her Baby Neka. To me, she reminds me a lot of Nika Ogwumike, and I think the ceiling is high. So to me, it only makes sense that Awa is the number one prospect and the best one to be paired with Paige for the future.
And she's a legit 6'5", 6'6",
6'4".
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
6'4", but strong. She got long arms. She runs the floor extremely well. You can't go wrong with her. I think Paige would really have fun playing with her.
Wow.
In Dallas, you can build around that. It's a nice base to build around that.
Wow. I told you, a lot of people, and that's why we're glad you're here, because a lot of people don't have too much insight into Awa, some people keep up with Eurobasket and watch the games and stuff, but a lot of us, like me, have been getting more familiar with her, mostly through clips we see on social media. And you can only take so much from that. But for someone like me who prides himself on being a student of the game and really watching for nuances and details, I saw her do enough things that had me pretty excited. I mean, had me looking forward to seeing more from what she can do. She looks like that kind of versatile forward front court player that I have said should be the priority for Dallas to get Paige with a player like that, a pick and pop threat, an athlete, and we all know, and this has been kind of the crux of Marcus's argument, like not even just for Dallas, but for the WNBA, you need your big, you need an elite big at some point. So we've gone back and forth a bit about like, where they could get that elite big, even if it's not in this draft, could they bypass it and look in free agency or make a trade or something? Maybe that's how it happens. But I guess and again, I'm just glad you're here to even ask you in this way. So you feel that Awa's potential ceiling, because you started by talking about how much you understand AZ's greatness and potential greatness and how well we know she plays with Paige. You see Awa's potential ceiling as high enough to go with her over what you think could be potentially a special pairing with AZ and Paige for all the reasons that we know.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, comparing a 19-year-old to a Nika Ogwumike is a big deal. You know, it's high praises because Nika's going to be a Hall of Famer, right?
When you said that, when you said baby Nika, I'm like, oh, that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. Because again, she's kind of like we spoke about Malonga before we got on the air, right? Awa is really showing some incredible flashes. Like what she did during the Eurobasket last summer was pretty incredible. So my mentor in this space, I'm not gonna say his name because he wants to stay in the shadow, but he's like my Yoda to my Luke Skywalker, right? It's like my Master Yoda, and there's nobody who knows the ins and outs of like the women's basketball and the WNBA like he does. Like he's to me the greatest mind. So he'll recognize himself if he watches this, but he doesn't want me to say his name. But the day I'm on the WNBA draft on ESPN, I'll say his name. I don't care. But
I know that's right. I know, yeah.
But we spoke a lot about how Awa really just matured during that Eurobasket and how she looked like a grown woman and she's only a teenager. Like she had just turned 19 that past summer when she carried Spain to the championship game against Belgium, and Belgium was just loaded and had too much experience. I mean, they had Julie Van Loo, Emma Miserman. Like you got all those big time players playing for your squad. It's hard to get over that hump. But the way she was playing with such poise and patience, that athleticism, the passing acumen, defensive acumen, to me, like you have to go with Awa. You have to build that player. You can still mold her because she's so young, even though she has a lot of basketball experience in her legs and in her hands, but you can mold her the way you want for the WNBA game, and go forward. You know, she's becoming a legit threat from 17. She's shown flashes from 3. I don't think you necessarily need her to really be like a pick and pop threat from 3. Like if she can do it, fine. But like 17, to me, 17 foot is very important. You have to be able as a big today. And that's one of the reasons, we'll talk about it a little bit later. That's one of the reasons why Lauren Betts is not as, I don't want to say not as safe as a pick in the, top 5 range as people used to think, as we used to think, because of the way the WNBA is going right now. Like bigs are really stepping out. Even Asia, we saw last season, Asia was taking a lot of jumpers from 17 and sometimes from 3, right? This is where he's going. So I think Awa with Paige is the right fit. You can always, in my opinion, it's easier to get a really good perimeter player than it is to get a really good big who has, potential Hall of Fame ceiling, right? So I'll go Awa number 1. A lot of people also are not very familiar with it because it's still very new on the women's basketball side, right? The European players. I think you guys remember, you're old enough to remember how it used to be in the NBA as well, right? When European players were getting drafted in the first round, people would be like, I'm not sure about European players. We're still very skeptical. Guys like Tony Parker was 28th pick. I still remember when Pau Gasol went number 3 and people were still kind of skeptical, but he became a Hall of Famer. Tony Parker became a Hall of Famer, right? So I think it's going to slowly change. Last year, Malonga, in my opinion, should have been number 1. People weren't really ready, and I think people are slowly starting to accept it. I think social media plays a big role in that. People get to see clips, people get to see full highlights, so they don't have that that initial, I guess, skepticism because it's not in their face all the time, right? Like Flaugier, Olivia Miles, Lauren Best are in our faces all the time. We can't see them all the time, so we're familiar. And when we're not familiar with a player, especially when she's playing overseas, should I say, people are like, okay, they're saying she's good, but she's good overseas. We didn't see her play against X, Y, and Z, so we don't know what to expect. But I think people will come around with it eventually.
Let's take a quick break, and we're going to continue into Ziggy's most recent mock draft by looking at picks 2 through 5.
Shout out to Basketball Society Protect Our Queens podcast, man. I want to talk about our female collegiate athletes. They don't get enough love, but we're going to give them the love here, okay? Flaugier Johnson. Have you heard her music? This goes! I don't know if we're going to get in trouble for that, copyright, something like that, but that's a vibe. That's just the beat. If they don't make it in the Final Four, she gonna be on somebody's stage rapping, okay? I've been seeing her on commercials and everything. I think she got like a tax practice or something like that with her finances or something. This is great. Flau'jae out here. The music go, and she got a couple joints. Gone, never home.
So
Gone, never home.
Flau'jae go hard, man.
Flau'jae is so hard.
Her stuff goes hard for real.
So I wanna transition into picks 2 through 5. You take a look at what Ziggy has. If you're just joining us, you have Ziggy, the man behind Women's Hoops Masterclass. He's done an entire 3-round mock. This is the second mock he's done. The first one he did was way back at the end of August, right? End of August,
right. Summertime, yep.
Around the summertime. So we just saw the Awa Fam going to Dallas. Looking at this 2 through 5, you have Olivia Miles at 2, AZ Foot at 3, Flau'jae Johnson at 4, and Tanaya Latson at 5. And the reason why I have the title card Zig as Olivia Miles to Minnesota is, and this is a conversation that Martin and I had not too long ago on the pod, actually, maybe about a month or so ago, I believe. Martin loves Olivia Miles, and I do too. We rant and we rave about Olivia Miles all the time, every chance we get, especially as ways like her passing. In fact, when Olivia was kind of supposed to be coming out last year, right? One of the things that I tell Martin, it's like we've gotten to the Wayback Machine. Like some of the same teams who were like in the conversations for the first pick and certain players, it was like we're doing it all over again. But basically, what I've been saying to Martin is like I'm concerned, or not concerned. I don't know for sure that by the time we get to April in the draft, which at this point is 3 months away, that the Minnesota Lynx are still going to be at number 2. Like, I think Olivia Miles would be a good fit for Minnesota. Martin did kind of talk me into it. But I just think, bro, like, given their history with young players, like Cheryl Reeve doesn't play young players well. So it's often. And we saw them play in the WNBA Finals in 2024 and then make pretty much no changes to their roster going into 2020. Like, their biggest change they made was going out and trading for Dejanay Carrington, really, kind of in the second half of the season. So my question for you is, let's just assume Minnesota does keep their pick. Right. Obviously, you think they're going to go with Olivia Miles. Why? And then can you kind of just like walk us through, and I'll put the mock draft back on the screen. Can you just walk us through how you've gone now from Olivia to AZ and then to Flau'jae and Tanaya? Because it almost feels like taboo to most people, again, stateside with what we know, like you said, everyone's in our face, like to have a player like AZ Fudd, who everyone thinks should be number 1, going number 3 to Seattle. Like, what is the separation for you between Olivia Miles and AZ Fudd?
So here's my thing. I think in the WNBA right now, there's a shortage of true point guard. There's a lot of combo, right? There's a lot of dynamic guard who are playing point guard de facto or not true point guards.
Yeah.
So
one of them's on Minnesota, Courtney Williams.
There you go. Courtney is more of a combo guard. She can play at the PG. Even Tisha Heidemann is not necessarily a true point guard, right? Sure. So when you have a player like Olivia Miles, in my opinion, has the potential of being generational. We all know the playmaking acumen. It's pretty ridiculous. Sometimes even if you guys watch some of the full games, sometimes she'll throw a pass and it'll become a turnover, but it's only because her teammates were not ready, but because she sees the game like 3 steps ahead, and you'll find yourself saying, yo, like, how did she even see this? right? And I think at the next level, this is a pass that a player who's playing the game at a high pace, who can process the game at a high speed, is catching that ball and can lay it up or, hit the shot. So to me, that kind of passing and also the shot making of the bounce, which was to me the most impressive thing, that she's improved coming back from her injury. Like, because we didn't see that before.
That's right.
Before her injury, she wasn't a shooter. She wasn't a shot maker. She was all drive, paint touches, and, dishing it out to her teammates. Now that she can shoot the basketball at a pretty high clip of the bounce, you're a different beast. Now, you did mention Cheryl Reeve and the Lynx. Cheryl Reeve not being, I'm not going to say too fond of rookies, but she's trusting more her veteran players. I think Olivia Miles will be the type of player she'll be able to take a chance on. Having her on the bench, maybe coming behind Courtney Williams, learn the ropes, and giving her, progressively some good minutes so she can become the point guard of the future for the franchise. But the reason why I have AZ slightly lower is I still have a slight level of concern when it comes to AZ Fudd, and it's her health. So she's a great offensive player. Like I said, AZ Fudd, when it comes to shooting the basketball, shooting is at a premium in the game of basketball today professionally, whether it's the WNBA or the NBA. If you can shoot the basketball at a high clip, you will play at the pro level, right? Yeah. And she's an incredible shooter. Quick, great footwork, it's crisp, right? She can attack off the bounce, get to her media of the pull up. But my thing with AZ, she hasn't been healthy every single year. Even last year, even though she had a great Final Four run, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a point in the season where she was sidelined with some kind of leg injury. They didn't really mention what it was, but she was sidelined for, I think, 1 or 2 weeks. And the WNBA level is a different beast from an athletic standpoint, from a physical standpoint, from a speed standpoint. So I'm not saying that she's going to get hurt because I don't want the UConn Mafia to come after me, right? I'm just, as a draft analyst, I'm raising a healthy dose of concern. I think it's not bad to raise that question. Is she going to be able to sustain that kind of rhythm in the W, that kind of strength, that kind of speed, right? So that's why, to me, AZ is a little bit low, which is kind of crazy because she's top 3, right?
Sure, yeah.
But to me, she's right. I think Seattle could be a good fit, and plus, they also had a couple of UConn greats, right? Sue Bird, Brianna Stewart. So now you bring another UConn great who won the national championship, who was the most outstanding player. And I'm not saying you're giving her the keys to the franchise, but you can pair her with a young Dominique Malonga, and you have 2 big-time players for the future, right? One dominant perimeter player and one dominant future post player.
Yeah, you just talked me into that whole scenario, especially from a basketball standpoint. I mean, when Marcus said I kind of talked him into the idea of live to Minnesota, it was, and I think I agree with what you said, Zig. I feel like Olivia Miles is the end of. People know who I'm biased. I mean, I'm an Olivia Miles fan, but I think she can be an exception to what we feel like is the Cheryl Reeve kind of young person rookie rule. Like I feel like she is potentially generational. I don't see how even someone like Cheryl Reeve could deny that and want to pass up on that. Olivia injects a whole new just energy and life into the way she plays, right? She becomes a force multiplier, an energy adder. The way she plays will give them, infuse in them new life, which they may need, especially with Fee coming off this injury. They're gonna need some new life. And I think the AZ possibility to Minnesota, I still find interesting because just how we talk about Liv being able to learn the ropes from Courtney Williams, imagine AZ being able to learn the ropes from Kayla McBride. Imagine if they want that kind of firepower on their side, where we're like, you know what, let's get another Kayla McBride in here and up our shooting ante. But I think the Liv move is sounding like more and more sense, and AZ to Seattle with Dom with that's sounding that's feeling pretty right to me now.
I'm more bottom into the AZ to Seattle scenario. And as far as Flauja at 4 or 5 might change too, because of another prospect that we might mention, which is also from France, called Nell Ngloma. Nell was 6th on my mock draft. The way she's been playing right now, to me, there's no way that Nell Ngloma is not going at least top 4. I'm going to explain why. But I had Flauja at 4 because obviously we've had a big sample size of what Flauja can do as a shooting guard, especially last season. This year, she's battling some minor ankle injuries. That's why I'm really not worried about some of the performances that she had. She went scoreless against Vanderbilt, and everybody on the internet was saying, "Oh, the draft stock." I'm like, no, it's not how it works. it's not how it works, right? It's not because you have one bad game that now your draft stock is going to plummet. No, and she came back and had 25 points the very next game against Georgia. My thing with Flauja, I think she's a very dynamic scorer. She's a really good athlete, good two-way player, right? Can lock up. Her shooting has improved incredibly. The starting the season, she was shooting 50% from 3, right? So going into the league, she's not going to be a main ball handler, but you can use her as an off-ball guard. We've seen it when LSU still had Angel Reese, Anissa Morrow, and those were the main scorer. Flauja was relegated to the role of two-way player and catch-and-shoot player, and every once in a while she'll be able to take over the offense. So I think she can come in the league and have that kind of role, right? Playing in Washington would have been good for her, alongside Georgia Amore, Sonny Citron, Kiki Iriafen, and Shakira Austin, right? You put her at that small forward role, off-ball guard, who thrives in transition, catch and shoot, can play defense to your best perimeter player. I think it's a role that can fit her well. But because Ngloma is rising, Flauja might drop at number 5 and be reunited with Angel Reese, And I know a lot of fans want to see that. A lot of fans want to see that, and that'll be cool. I'm sure the Chicago Sky are looking at this possibility. We're going to Angloma. She's also 19-year-old, leading the French league in scoring at 19-year-old. I didn't see that coming. This past summer, she was playing in the under-19 team for France. She had a great tournament, great games against France, against Australia. And I also mentioned in my stock watch that she might rise to first-round status, but I didn't see her rising to lottery pick status. But long and behold, she's destroying everybody in the French league. Wow. She's 6'1", incredible physical frame. She's nicely built, broad shoulders, strong, very strong. She's an aggressive driver. And the crazy thing about it, again, leading France in scoring at 18 points per game, she doesn't have a true jump shot yet. And that's the scary part about it. So whoever is drafting her right now, to me, she has to go top 4. I think you can put her in that position that I spoke about, Flaugier. Put her in Washington, and you have a very athletic front court with her, Kiki, and Shakira, and you still develop her jump shot, and now she becomes a monster. Now that means that Tanaya Latson will go down to 6th or 5th. It's going to depend on what Chicago wants. But my only thing with Tanaya Latson, I'm a little bit concerned with the shooting. She improved last year when she was at Florida State, but she hasn't shot a lot of threes this season at South Carolina. Yeah. I don't think it's something that has been required from the South Carolina staff. She likes to drive. She's an aggressive driver. I compare her to Dwayne Wade. But to me, my only comparison for Tanaya Latson is the young Dwayne Wade, because the way she just dropped that shoulder, explodes to the rim, the hang time, just being able to finish around everybody. She really reminds me of a young D Wade. Yeah. But she's going to need to shoot that basketball for her to be efficient at the next level, because some of the layups she's making, some of the drives she's capable of to make in college, she's going to run into walls in the WNBA level. They're going to force her to shoot that basketball. So I'm wondering what's the mindset behind it, why she's not taking as many jump shots, because last year she took a lot more shots for Florida State. But again, that position is going to be a matter of preference. Who is Chicago going to like more, right? Are they going to like Flaugier more? Are they going to like her more? But either or, you can go either way. But Nell Angloma from Montpellier in France, a lottery pick. It's not even close. Close.
Wow.
Wow. That is interesting. Look at that. We always get some lovely insight when Ziggy on the show. This is why we love having them come on. We're gonna take another quick break, and then we're the next couple minutes of this show might turn into just me and Ziggy having a conversation. I don't know. Sometimes Martin acts like he doesn't have a vested interest in the Mystics, but we'll see after
I do now. No, I'm all in on
I will give Martin credit. He has been.
We were at the draft last year celebrating together. They did what we said they should do. They got all three. Right?
That is true. But we're going to take a quick break and come on the backside and talk a little bit specifically about the Washington Mystics.
Cool. Basketball Society YouTube channel, Protect Our Queens podcast. Yes. I got what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about why they need to make more money. Because the WNBA chick took me out on a date, and I did not like it. She took me to Red Robin's. Think about going to Red Robin's, you know you getting a burger. That's all they got, bruh. There's no excitement in going to a Red Robin's. You know you getting a burger. She was on her way. She was like overseas hooping. She was bad. Yeah, I mean, we was chopping it. We was choppy. Word. And I remember we on that. She was like, no, I got it. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Listen, let me tell you something. The WNBA, the W, gotta pay them more. Gotta pay them more. They deserve more. Because they deserve to treat their dates a little bit better. The way I was treated was disrespectful. Disrespectful. No love. No coof for me. I mean, they need to make more money because they want to live on the wild side too. WNBA women deserve to make more money. They should not still be fighting to get that chicken. Can't even take a brother on a decent date. Had me in Red Robin. I was tearing them steak fries up. Yeah, man.
All right.
That was funny.
So I want to talk a little about the Mystics, right? The Mystics, they come into the draft last year. They have 3 first-round picks. Not just 3 first-round picks. They had 3, 4, and 6 last year. And with those, of course, they picked Sonia Citron, Kiki Iriafen, and Georgia Amore. After Martin and I got back from New York, I believe it was the next day, we had a conversation just specifically about the Mystics and what they were able to do. And this is a bit of that conversation from last year's draft. I don't think we can talk about like draft reactions without talking about the Mystics. Like they and you know, it's hard not to do well when you have 3 picks in the top 10, right? When you have 3, 4, and 6, it's hard not to do well. You're going to get good players, but you and I talked a lot about, you know, they're entering a new territory, right? Elena Delle Donne's retired. She's up in the front office now. They kind of have to build this roster around Aaliyah Edwards and Shakira Austin. And when you look at, you know, getting Sonia Citrone, getting Kiki Iriafen, getting Georgia Amore, who you predicted would be the pick at 6, like that's a really they have a potential starting 5 under the age of 25 with the 3 plus Aaliyah and Shakira. It's great. Mike's going to come on in a bit. He might not like what I'm about to say, but like there's an argument now, like you said, the Mystics might have the best young core in the league now, just off the strength of those 5 players alone. Now, unfortunately, last year didn't go exactly how we thought it would. Georgia Amore tore her ACL first day of training camp, and Aaliyah Edwards got traded to the Connecticut Sun. But I keep telling you, bro, it's this Wayback Machine, 2026. The Mystics have 3 first-round picks again. Number 4, number 9, and number 11. I told Martin this, Ziggy. I told him about the conversation you and I had when you initially posted the mock draft about what the Mystics are going to do specifically. And I love the Gianna Nipkins pick. Like, I think when I was thinking about like players that could come to Washington and kind of fit with what they have going on, I immediately thought of Gianna Nipkins because of what she's able to do. So I would love for you to kind of talk about that a little bit more. But the player for me, and I did tell you this, the player that's interesting is you have Janiyah Barker going to the Mystics at 9. And there's just a couple of players behind Janiyah that I personally think, I don't want to say might be better fits necessarily.
We spoke about it, yeah.
But like a Sarah Williams, for example, Martin and I were talking the other day. I've kind of talked myself into the idea of Kiki Rice being drafted by the Mystics with one of these 3 picks, just off the strength of thinking about, again, what the Mystics want to do, but also too thinking about like their point guard room. They got good point guard production, really solid point guard production from Shug Sutton and Jade Melvin last season. But I feel like Kiki Rice, like her experience with Lauren Betts, would fit perfectly being able to play off of someone like Kiki Iriafen, who is more offensively gifted than Lauren Betts. But just starting with, I guess, Janiyah, can you kind of talk a bit about like what you had, like what process into Janiyah at 9 as opposed to some of those other plays that you have behind her?
Yeah, so my case for Janiyah is a little bit like the Michael Jordan analogy that I made earlier on the show. I've been extremely high on Janiyah Barker since she was a freshman in college. When you have a player that's 6'4", with that kind of athleticism, that kind of fluid athleticism, skill set, you can't pass up on her. To me, she's a clear top 10 prospect. And it's going to sound crazy, but you just take her and you figure it out how to use her after that. I think Kim Caldwell is doing a great job at Tennessee. She figured out how to use Janiyah Barker, right? I thought her first couple of years at Texas A&M, Coach Johnny Taylor was doing a good job as well. And she kind of lost her groove at UCLA. I don't think it was the right fit for her to go there because they already had some players who were dominant with the ball. But at Tennessee, we started to see some flashes of what Janiyah is. And I think you can sometimes use her as a small forward in the league, right? Because everybody's taller and taller in the W. So that was my mindset with it. You know, have her with that young core, have her, you know, in the front court next to Kiki and Shakira, trying to develop her, or sometimes play her at the 4 and Kiki at the 5 or Shakira at the 5 or whatever. So that was my mindset behind it, having like a very athletic front court. Now, I understand what you're saying. I think Sarah Williams could be a possibility as well. Her stats are not reflective of the kind of player she is. I think we have enough sample size when she was playing at Wisconsin. I was very impressed, especially last year, what she was doing. You know, she's a double-double machine. She can block shots. She moves very well. She can attack, you know, facing up. She has a nice 17-foot jump shot. I'm not really sure as to why her production has dropped so much at UConn. I've watched games sometimes. I don't know, maybe it is Gino wants to conserve her. But again, sometimes players can hit their strides later on in the season. And since UConn is going to make a deep run, maybe during the biggest tournament, she starts balling out of her mind. And in the tournament, she balls out of her mind. And now her stock goes right back up because, you know, WNBA team is going to be watching every single one of UConn's game, right? But I think Sarah Williams, you know, could be a potential good addition, you know, to their front court. You can't go wrong with it. I don't want them to be just so stacked with post players. That's why, like, I didn't have her going to Washington. And I like what you said about Kiki Rice. I got Kiki going to Atlanta at 13 right now, but you can't go wrong with her. I think Kiki is not the most gifted playmaker in terms of like setting up her teammates for assists. But then again, we don't really know what she's capable of doing because she's been playing with a very dominant post player during her whole college career, right? She has to give her the ball a lot. She has to feed some of her wings a lot. So most of her assists are mostly as a result of design, right, of the system, rather than her creating advantage of the dribble. So maybe she's capable of being a high producing playmaker, right, when she has a little bit more responsibility. But I don't think you can go wrong with Kiki. She's very dynamic. She's athletic. She has the making of a really good mid-range jump shooter. She got better from three. And you know what you get from her every game. She's going to play hard. She's going to play hard. And I think she could be a good fit for that young core. And going to Gianna Nipkins, I think Nipkins can fit almost anywhere in the W because she's such a great shooter. You don't need her to have the ball in her hand. Like, she's an elite shooter. And I was very impressed from what I've seen from her in the America Cup last summer, right? Like, playing with so many great players around her, not needing to be the focal point of the offense like she was when she played for Utah, and just being able to catch and shoot at a high clip, right? So, in an offense like this, Georgia's coming back, Sonia Citron is there, Kiki is there, Shakira is there. Yeah, just get to the corner every once in a while. Maybe we'll run a floppy action for you. Maybe we'll run some staggers for you so you can get open and get a shot. I think Gianna is also a good addition. My only thing with her is the athleticism. I don't know if she's able to adjust quickly enough to the athleticism and speed of the WNBA. The more I watch her, that's my only question mark for her.
I want to, before Martin gets in, I just want to reply to this comment. I keep seeing, I don't know what it is about these comments. I keep seeing people say things like this. So, first of all, thank you for tuning in. Cowboys Wizard says, Mystics fan here, give me Lauren Betts / AZ Foot at 4, then trade the rest of the picks to Connecticut for Layla Lacan. I don't want to come off as disrespectful because Martin and I had a similar conversation on the show because someone said that the Mystics should trade all of their picks to number 1 to get AZ Fudd. And a couple things. First of all, the Mystics are literally in the process of rebuilding.
Yeah.
If the Mystics are going to trade multiple first-round picks for anybody, I don't care if it's a player in the draft class, I don't care if it's a player that's currently in the WNBA, they need to be a player that is 2 first-round pick worthy.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Layla Lacan. That might be a reason why I don't think she's first round pick worthy. She was, I know a lot about her, and I'm not trying to sound disrespectful. I'm just being so honest.
She's
Layla
good.
Lacan was worth 2 first round picks. I feel like I would know a lot more about her. The other thing too is the Mystics are and Martin and I were talking about this the other day. Like, the Mystics are in such a unique position. It's almost kind of like they're about to be the OKC of the WNBA. Like, they have just a wealth of picks at the right time with all of this talent that's just coming into the WNBA, where Martin said the other day, by in the next 3 to 6 years, we should see the Mixes at a point where they're competing for a championship. And when you think about how they're doing it, it makes sense. You go out there last year, you get yourself a point guard of the future, a wing player, and a forward. You're coming back in this year with 3 picks with an opportunity to get you, more players to kind of fit into that. Yeah. You still have a player in Shakira Austin, who Martin might be sick of at this point. I will talk about Shakira Austin until I'm purple in the face because I think she's just that good. And I'm waiting. I am waiting desperately for that fully healthy season. Last year was the most healthy season she's had since her rookie season, I think. And she looked really good. She's looked really, really, really good so far these first couple games of Unrivaled. Every time I open Twitter, every time I open Threads, Shakira Austin's talking about how much she loves playing with Chelsea Gray. And I'm crossing my fingers that 2026 is the year that we see Shakira Austin have a fully healthy season. So I feel like a lot of Mystics fans, because of the era that they're coming off of, right, with Elena and Ariel Atkins and the champion and Natasha Cloud, they won the championship. They were still kind of competitive despite the injuries. We're kind of forgetting like where we're at right now. This is not the time for the Mystics to be sending picks away and just kind of experiment. Like, this is the time, bro. Lucy Olsen, and granted it was by circumstance, but Lucy Olsen was drafted in the 2nd round last year.
That was a great pick too.
Made the roster and played valuable minutes, like played really, really good minutes, and was a legit contributor to that roster. Like, the Mystics have an opportunity and this is something that Martin and I talked about last year after the draft. It's so interesting how, like, if they're continuing to come in with like 2 to 3 really good players not even just first round picks, just 2 to 3 players every single year in the draft, right? They're going to be in a position where, let's say in 4 to 5 years, when we're talking about where they're at, in 4 to 5 years, guess what? Georgia Amore, Sonia Citron, Kiki Iriafin, they're going to be the vets of the team, and you're going to keep bringing in really good young players to kind of flush it out. Again, if the Mystics are going to trade multiple first-round picks at any point between now and, let's say, just 2030, so the next 4 years, they need to be trading those picks for proven veteran players who they know are going to show up and contribute and get them closer to a championship. And AZ, because at first it was the AZ FUD thing. Love AZ. AZ FUD is not guaranteed to get the Mystics any closer to a championship now or in the next year or two than they are right now. Not because she's not good, because there's still just so much to figure out. I will always, every time I see the Mystics drafting, I will always advocate for them keeping the pick no matter what round it is, getting the player into camp, getting them out there their reps, and kind of, bro, Lucy Olsen was a second-round pick, and she made the roster and played well. Like, they're going to keep being in those situations where they can get second and maybe even third-round picks making the roster just off the strength of their contributions. I don't even think Layla Lacan is not the name that's going to make me giddy for trading the 9th and 11th pick in the draft. You got to give me Enrique or someone with a little bit more oomph. No disrespect to that commenter, swear. I saw that and I was like, I just kind of want to say this because it's something I'm seeing happen. And I think a part of it is the Ariel Atkins thing. I feel like is kind of freaking Mystics fans out a little bit because they traded Ariel Atkins and they got the 3rd pick, which turned into Sonia. And now it's like, oh, well, maybe we should kind of like, that doesn't happen all the time. That doesn't happen all the time. I think that was luck, I would say. Like, you're able to, Ariel Atkins is a good player, but when you're able to get something like that and you draft Sonia, you are really, really good. They need to kind of figure out, they need to get a backup point guard. They need to, in my opinion, backup point guard. And at some point in the next 2 to 3 years, get a player to back up Shakira. Because I know the front office is committed to keeping Shakira Austin. The head coach has said it like so many times. But yeah, I'm off my soapbox. Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
So I kind of posed this to Marcus Ziggy. Who do you think can or will emerge as the alpha of that group? Because even as he makes the OKC analogy, right, they don't become what they are now unless Shea ascends into what he's become. So I was talking to him about this. I'm like, who's gonna not just the best player, but I mean alpha in terms of energy, leadership, owning the fact that they're the best player. Like, do you think Sonia is that Sonia? Is that Georgia? Like, who's is there one in this draft? Like, what do you think about that? Because I think they're gonna keep doing everything Marcus talked. I think they're gonna keep being really good. They're gonna keep getting better and better. They're gonna be a good team. I don't know if we'll see them become great or championship. Like the last time we saw them championship, Elena Deladon, right? Unicorn, alpha, right? So like who do you think that could be for them?
I think it's Kiki Iriafin. I think Kiki has the making of being the alpha of the team. She has that strong presence, but she's still very humble as a player, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, she was an all-star as a rookie last year. Sonny Citron seems to be a little bit more reserved. Despite being a really good player, I think Kiki can handle all that external pressure, right? And she's, to me, I was really high on Kiki Iriafin since her breakout season at Stanford. You know, being able to shoot that mid-range jumper, being able to drive from a physical standpoint and athletic standpoint. She has a great body for the league, great athleticism. I think she can be the centerpiece. I think she can be the player that you build around. I mean, you have Georgia, you have Sonny, like I said, and then you bring some more pieces. I think she can be that player. I really believe she can be the player for the Mystics.
I like that, Marcus.
I do too. Just to follow up here, it says, do your research. Layla, look, okay. Layla Khan is awesome.
No, she's good. She had a great season.
I'm not saying she's bad. I don't want. That's what I'm saying. It seems like I'm saying she's bad. I'm just saying you don't trade 2 first-round picks for an all-star level player. You trade 2 first-round picks for an all-league level player, like a player that's like Asia Wilson, like a player that's like Asia, or like a player on that. Maybe not Asia, because you'd have to trade your entire franchise and then an ownership.
You got to trade your whole team for Asia.
If I'm trading 2 first-round picks, I need to get in return a player that is not an all-star level player, an all WNBA, like they're getting MVP votes next season. We're making the playoffs, and we might have a shot at a championship. That's what 2 first-round picks mean. I'm not saying Layla Lacan's a bad player. I've only heard good things about her, so I'm not in a position to say she's bad. What I'm saying is, if Layla Lacan were worth 2 first-round picks, I think more people would know more about Layla Lacan. That's all I'm saying. That's my only position. Really quickly, before we get out of here, and I would like I want Ziggy to go last, because I think you're going to come up with a name that neither Martin or I are going to bring up. But we did just want to very quickly talk about 1 or 2 players from each of us that we think are sleepers or players that we have our eyes on for this year's draft. Martin, we get to start with you. Who are 2 players you have your eyes on this year?
Yeah, let's pull up the mock again real quick so we can take a look at some names. I am curious to hear a little bit from Ziggy about the flamethrower out of Richmond, Maggie Dugan. I know you have her in the 2nd round. I feel like she's gonna hoop. I feel like she's like the new Maddie Siegrist, bro. But like in a way, but I think her skills are gonna translate. I think she's gonna be more of who she is now in the W, where like Maddie's like the all-time leading scorer at Villanova. Like she was a full-out scorer in college, and now in the W, she's taken on, kind of a lesser role, kind of almost like she's kind of like a do-it-all, but like she does the kind of like the dirty work. Like she's a workhorse. Like that was what was great about her in college too. She's got that workhorse kind of game. And she's not as much of a scorer at this level, but I think the girl Maggie Dugan, the way she shoots that thing, man, she lets it go. I think she's going to be good. But my name, Zig, who I think I've become higher on her watching her this season, transferring to Ole Miss. I think Cody McMahon is fascinating me a little bit more. I think there are some holes in her game that you can kind of nitpick at, but with her size and her frame, her going downhill, the force she plays with, she can shoot. She's got the shooting touch. I could see Cody playing her way into the top 10 and being like a sleeper of this draft.
Yeah. So real quick on Maggie Dugan, I think Maggie can go into the league and be what she is right now in college. Right, she doesn't need to have the ball in her hand to be efficient. She's an excellent pick and pop shooter. Slip the screen and finish at the rim. I think you can use her as that kind of forward, right? Someone who's just coming in and give you a few stretches the floor for you, plays with high IQ, and I think that's why top 20 is a good spot for her. And she's shown that she can play against some really elite teams, whether it was last year in the tournament or earlier this season against Texas, or just last week when she had 48 points on a crazy efficient shooting night, right? Going back to Cody, I was extremely surprised as well for what I've been seeing from Cody this season, because her first 3 seasons, she was strictly a power forward. She could shoot the ball a little bit last year at Ohio State, but not the way she's doing it this year. Like this year, she's
playing like LeBron this year.
Right. What is going on? The bounce. She's using the screen, re-screen, and I'm like, okay, Cody, like she's looking like a small forward. She's really not looking like a 4 anymore. There's still some things she needs to refine in her decision making, like making the pass at the right time, and that's because she hasn't played in the perimeter for a long time. So her passing instincts are still 1 or 2 steps behind, but you can refine that. But I like what I'm seeing from Cody. But when you mentioned Ole Miss, I thought you was going to mention another one of her teammates, Latasha Lattimore, who's a transfer from Virginia. And to me, Lattimore is the biggest slip in that draft class. 6'4", incredible athlete, can shoot the basketball, and she's finally getting her strides right now in SEC play at the best moment. To me, she's a player who has first-round ability, but if she gets drafted in the 2nd round, to me, she has a high chance of making a team. And there's a lot of W teams, because I got it from my insider who told me a lot of WNBA teams like her a lot. Outside of Lattimore, Poffenbarger, me and Marcus talked about it. Sarah Poffenbarger from Maryland. Yeah, I think she's one of the biggest slipper. She can hoop. She's just one of those players who can play basketball.
She can play. She can just
sometimes
play.
You don't have to say, the player got the handle, got it. No, she just know how to play basketball the right way. And who else? I had Cass Prosper from Notre Dame. I'm surprised by Cass Prosper. 6'3", only playing the small forward. She get downhill. It's fluid, right? It doesn't look awkward. She can get to her mid-range of the bounce. shooting the three better. I think Cass will come back to school because she has one more year. Because I think it was a sophomore season she was injured.
Right.
But if she were to declare, to me, she's one of the biggest sleeper. I think I had another name. I had Tiani Key from Kentucky who got hurt. I got Z Spearman from Tennessee. But to me, those are like the hybrid forward because they fit where the game is going. 6'4", 6'5", long, athletic, can run, can shoot the basketball. And to me, those are players who fit the current landscape. But yeah, those are my sleeper in Olcott. I think Medina Olcott because she doesn't have a lot of basketball in her hands, but 6'6", can handle the basketball, can shoot the basketball from mid range and sometimes from three. Runs the floor extremely well. I think Medina Olcott is a big time sleeper in this draft class.
Bro, first of all, I love that you brought up Sailor, and because I have the unique privilege of being able to cover Maryland's women's basketball. I'm at every home game. I love watching Sailor Poffenbarger play basketball. She is, so I told Martin, earlier in the year, they were running this all guard lineup where they had Sailor essentially playing the 5.
Right.
And it works because of her versatility as a defender, right? But then you go on the offensive side of it, and she is having, I was looking at it the other day, she's having the best shooting season of her career. And a part of that has to do with the fact that she is taking more shots because Kayleen Smichael's hurt and Bree McDaniel's hurt and Cheyenne Sellers, who was their leading scorer last year, was one of the leading scorers last year, obviously graduated last year, went to the draft last year, so she's not there anymore. But I tell Martin this all the time because it's still something I can't wrap my mind around sometimes. Most of the time, in my experience anyway, I've seen like players take more shots. That doesn't always mean they increase their shooting percentage. Sailor Poffenbarger is taking like double the amount of shots she was taking last year, and her shooting splits are up 20% from the field, roughly like 20-some% from the field, 20-some% from three. Like her ability, I think you put her on any of the, where are we at? 15 teams now, any of the 15 teams, get her, they're getting a good basketball player. The other one, and this is the one I thought you were going to kind of put at the end. I'm glad you didn't say it because I get to toot the horn here. Yarden Garzone. Again, a lot of home cooking for me here today. I know I do a lot of Maryland, but Yarden Garzone, I love Yarden. Yarden is one of the best 3-point shooters in the country, just percentage-wise and makes. She's like, I think she still leads the Big Ten in 3-point make this season. If not, she's second. She had a game against Rutgers last week. She was 6 for 6 from 3. Yeah. And Maryland shot 64% from 3 as a team. She was 6 for 6 from 3. She missed 1 or 2 threes in their loss on Sunday to Ohio State. But what I love about Yarden, and again, I think this just goes to the brilliance of Brenda Fries and the way that she's put this team together this year. Yarden is another guard. She's tall. She's like 6'2", 6'3", I think.
6'3", yeah.
And she's like in Indiana, she was like the offense, right? Like she was the playmaker. She set the table for everyone else. She was shooting as well. She still does that in Maryland, but it's so much more subtle just because of all the other guards they have around her. I feel like I don't know. I don't think you have her mock to Chicago on your mock, but I think Yarden Garzone is the type of player that the Chicago Sky need because they desperately need just players who can shoot the basketball. Right? Yeah. Like they are still one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the league, and I think Yarden would be great for them. But I'm interested to see where the both of them go because they are very similar, but also very different at the same time. Like they have very similar skill sets, but they also, just because of their size and kind of the position and the situation they've been over the course of their collegiate career, like they've used those skill sets very differently, which means that like depending on the situation they end up in, they could be a lot more impactful than I think anyone would think. I think once we get to like Big Ten play, and especially once we get into the tournament, because Maryland's always good for one really good game against a tough team in the tournament. I think that's when people are really going to start to pick up on Sailor and Yarden. But those are my 2 sleepers, and I think that's mainly because I watch them. Like, every time they play a home game, I'm in the building. I get to watch them. But
Yarden is crafty, man. That's the word I always say with Yarden, man. She's got that crafty to her game. I really liked watching her at Indiana last year, and I really enjoy her game. She's almost got that awkward, can't really predict what she'll do. Like she's more than just a shooter for sure. She's got crafty to her game.
A lot more than what meets the eye for both of them, I think.
Yeah, when it comes to Yarden, I think her first 3 years in college, she shot over 40% from 3, true shooting percentage. So she's an elite shooter, elite shot maker. I think with her is how does that translate to the league? in terms of athleticism. Because again, like I had a conversation again today, athleticism is big in the WNBA, and she's very crafty, to Martin's point, extremely crafty, but she won't be a player that's coming in and have the ball in her hand. So how do we use you when you come to the WNBA, right? Can you get open to get that shot up? So I think that's one of the main questions. That's one of the reasons why I have it marked a little bit lower. Because again, like the less athletic you are, and I'm saying that respectfully, the harder it will be for you in the W. Now, when you're a crafty player, you can still, figure it out. You can manage it. I mean, we saw, I was bringing to the NBA side, Jokic, for example. Jokic is like, he's the anti-NBA. When you're looking at him, like he's not what an NBA player is supposed to be like. We figure it out. Yeah. And Joe Ingles, same thing. Remember Joe Ingles, who's playing NBA, same thing. Not athletic player, but figure it out. And I think on the women's side, you can also do the same thing, but it's gonna be hard. But Saylor, I'm more confident in Saylor being able to make a roster because of her size and athleticism and versatility. I think Yarden's saving grace is the shooting. I definitely think when you shoot the ball at 40% and you're 6'3", somebody's gonna give you a chance. Somebody's gonna give you a chance. But nevertheless, I think there's some of the best player in that draft class, which is going to be very open because 45 players. I think to me they're in the tier of safe picks, top 25, top 30 players who are safe picks, and I'm looking forward to see how they perform in conference play. To me, conference play is when you really solidify more your draft status, right? That's when we see you're playing against great competition every night. Yeah, what's it going to look like, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that athleticism point is so big, I think, right now, because I think people really sleep on or just don't even realize how fast, strong that league is. Those grown women who can, all you got, watch Kelsey Mitchell play, bro. Watch Asia Wilson play. Watch these women, especially if you watch them go in person to watch these women play, to see the speed, to see the strength, and you'll understand why Ziggy is talking the way he talks about that athleticism factor, because like Zig, think about, the guards are athletic, but then you've got the unicorns. You've got they're up and down. They're just as fast and mobile as the guards and the wings nowadays. So, and you're talking Alyssa Thomas, Satu Sabali, like you've got tweeners, dual forwards. Like the athleticism is at a premium right now.
And the size. And I think one of the main factors, a lot of people don't understand that being a good college player on the women's side won't equate to you being a WNBA prospect. Those are really two different worlds. I've had people in my comments asking, why is Rory Harmon so low on my mock? Love Rory Harmon as a player in college, but people need to understand the guards in the WNBA are gigantic. Caitlin Clark is 6'1", playing the point guard. Yeah. Kalia Copper, listed at 6'2", is really closer to 6'3".
That's right.
And she's a 2 guard, right? Yeah. Sophie Cunningham is a shooting guard. She's 6'2", right? So like everybody is tall. The shorter you are, the harder it is. And the reason why I have Rory Harmon, again, doing my job, she's 5'6". Her shooting percentages are not the best ones, so it's kind of hard to project that at the next level. She's one of the best college players right now, but if I'm putting you on the WNBA court, how can you help my team? Like, how does it look like when you have to guard maybe like a Kalia Copper who's being slid at the one maybe for a few possession at 6'3", or when you're going against Caitlin Clark at 6'1", right? Everybody's taller, everybody's more athletic, everybody's stronger, and I think that's why a lot of girls get caught off guard when they go to the league. It's not their fault as well, because unlike the men get to play against NBA player in the summertime during runs, right? Yeah. So high school players on the men's side, they get to see and feel what an NBA player is like early on. Yeah. Girls don't get that because once the season is over, the WNBA is starting in the summertime. So they don't have those pro-am runs like the men have, right? Yeah. So that's when they come to the league, they're like, oh, wow, hold on. Like, this is crazy. I remember Haley Jones, I think after her first game, she was in a press conference. She was like, man, I just didn't know that human beings were capable of moving that fast, right? Speaking of the game. And this is a player who won the Final Four, won the national championship in college. But she realized, man, like, this is a different ball game. So that's why I always put a strong emphasis on size and athleticism, because this is the gap. The WNBA and college game is not the same at all.
That's well said. Before we get you out of here, speaking of size and athleticism, real quick, can you speak on Alicia Tornabees? I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm saying her name right. Tornabees, who's playing for South Carolina starting tomorrow. Just real quick, can you give us give us your thoughts on what you know about her.
So she's 6'4", young player from France. France has a history of having really good athletes. I think after the United States, France is the greatest pool of talent for basketball. You see it on the WNBA and the NBA side. All the players who get drafted from France always have long careers in the States, always. You see with Tony Parker, Evan Fournier, so forth and so on. On the league side, you have Carla Leighton, Layla Lecombe, Janelle Salon. Like those girls stick in the WNBA. WNBA teams go get players in the French domestically because it's full of athletes, right? It's the league that translates the best to the W. So Tournaby is 18 years old. She's from France. She's been playing with Bourges, which is one of the best teams in France. They play in the Women's EuroLeague. Last summer, she was one of the best players in the under-20 team for France, averaging about 12 points, 13 points per game. She can shoot the basketball from mid-range, nice touch, great shooting form. She's mobile and can move. She's a fluid athlete. People have seen the dunks, but she's a high IQ player, and she chose the best school. I call South Carolina post-university. If you're a post player and you want to go to the WNBA, the place you want to go is South Carolina. Dawn Staley will turn you into a WNBA prospect, to a WNBA player. So I'm really excited to see what she's going to do, how Dawn Staley is going to use her. Don't be surprised if you see her, catching a few dunks this season. I don't know if she's going to play a lot because, again, she's young. She's only 18 years old. But she's used to play against physicality. She's used to play against pros for the last, 2 years or so on. So I think she's that kind of player that's going to make a lot of noise in the SEC because she's used to playing against that physicality. Don't let the first glance, you're looking at her like, okay, like, are you going to be able to handle physicality of the SEC? No, she will. She will. When you play in France, when you can play in France and you play for the French national team, coming to the U.S. is going to be like a pretty, not an easy transition, but you'll be able to transition and play, fairly well. Kind of like Malonga. I forgot Malonga, French player as well. She's doing very well.
Marine Johannes, one of my favorites. One of my favorite players to watch. Zig, who's going to be the first girl we see to not just a breakaway dunk, but rip to dribble? And who's going to be the first one to do it like that? Like in traffic.
I think it's going to be done. I think it's going to be done.
You think so?
I think Malonga, because she's around.
Yeah.
These words that I can't use, but she's around players who have an edge. You know what word I want to use, but I can't use it. She's around a bunch of players who have that, that grit down there at Unrivaled. And I know some of them are told her, look, when you drive to the rim, you got to put somebody in the rim.
Somebody's head.
You got to punch it on him. So I think Dom, they're going to keep telling her, yo, go dunk it. You saw clips, Paige throwing lobs to her. I think she's going to get it. But Tony Beach too, South Carolina, they have those kind of players too. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dawn Staley's like, you know what, let me drop a play real quick, back screen, lob, go catch it.
On somebody's head. Go up and get that. Go up and get that.
I think Dawn will be the first one because she's around players who come from a background where, tell you, hey, you go to that rim, punch it.
Yeah. I like it.
Take a trip down to South Carolina. Don't worry about it.
Bro, Marcus, imagine when we see that for the first, like not just a breakaway Brittany Griner wide open, dunk, like that'll be cool. Like, bro, listen, Toby Fournier, she's another. We need to get her out in open space more. Get her some breakaways because she's got the 1 foot 2 hand back scratcher.
Yeah, easily.
She got the back scratcher, bro. But bro, I'm talking about, bro. We need to see a girl. When we see a girl reverse rip, just to dribble, like punch it in traffic. Game over.
It'll be over.
I think Dom would be the right one.
Dom got it. It's just a mindset thing because sometimes you look at her workouts, she's just like dunk the ball so easily. It has to be a mindset. And I think from a psychological standpoint, when you see a player driving and trying to dunk, even if she misses, she has to try to go dunk on people. Even if she misses, it's going to change everything. People are not going to try to go block because everybody's going to like, I'm not trying to be on Sports Center. I'm not trying to be the one. So she just has to try.
As long as Rakia Jackson's not under the rim when it happens, I will be quite all right. All right. It is always a pleasure to talk women's basketball with my guy, Martin Stories. And it's even more fun to do it when we got Ziggy on the show with us. So please make sure you are tapped in with Ziggy. Follow at Women's Hoops Masterclass on all of the things. And when you're done, make sure you subscribe to Basketball Society so you don't miss any future episodes of the Protect Our Queens podcast. So there's a couple players tonight whose names have been dropped who we actually have breakdowns for on the channel. AZ Fudd names has come up. There's a breakdown for her. Who else have we done? Sarah Strong's name has come up. There's a breakdown for her. Olivia Miles' name has come up. We just did a breakdown for her a couple days ago, actually. It's on the channel. It's fresh. It's new. So make sure you go check those out as well, because Martin and Dan do such a great job with those. And do believe an Awa Fam breakdown is on the way, because I'm going to make it my mission to make sure that you people don't think I'm crazy, because I'm sick of it.
Yeah. Hey,
I'm sick of foolishness.
Ziggy did give you a lot of validation tonight, bro. He did. Ziggy really did give you validation tonight.
Just because I can't put the words together don't mean I'm
Marcus.
Crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
I want to say, all you UConn fans out there who've been attacking me for the past couple months,
Yeah, Marcus. Talk your talk.
All right, but anyway, it is always a pleasure to talk women's basketball, and with these two lovely guys, we appreciate you guys for tapping in with us. Until next time, for Ziggy of Women's Hoop Masterclass and my guy Martin Soares, the founder of Basketball Society, I am Marcus of the Protect Our Queens podcast, signing off. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, you enjoy yourselves some women's basketball.